I just felt like uh, saying something about what I just heard Jordan Peterson say. I've been listening to his personality lectures from 2017, and it's the one right after his introduction, I think. Yeah, he's saying that it's only recently that people started to think in terms of scientific statements. Um, but I actually think that uh, that's not quite accurate, because people can't think in terms of objective truths, like purely objective truths. They can't, because they're subjects and they think about things that they can see with their eyes and things they can hear, and they have no direct connections to the objective universe. Also, science kind of evolved out of the way people were thinking before. He says that the way people used to think before, as opposed to scientifically, was the primary question was how do we act in the world? But they framed it, humans did for a long time, as like objective statements. And so, yeah, they're talking about how to act in the world. And so Jordan Peterson, his thing is, he's always saying we should interpret it as not take the objective statement seriously, but the main point of it was to teach through stories how to act in the world. And that's primarily what they were concerned about. But that's still what we're primarily concerned about. And and how to act in the world is informed by science. All we've done is differentiate our understanding of experience itself, not necessarily of the objective world, but experience. And as we have uh, expanded our understanding into more fine-grained scales, um, it hasn't changed qualitatively what we're doing. It's just we've placed, since the scientific revolution, a much stronger emphasis on repeatability, so quality predictions, and um, and we've we've just and that has led us to make more fine-grained statements, because it turns out the world is complex, and in order to make more quality predictions that are repeatable, you've got to say something more specific about certain experiences. But that's it. It's been it's been a an intensifying of what we were just doing before. It's not any different. It's the pursuit of predictability. And that's what people have been after. And it's not a completely different way of thinking at all. It's the same thing. And most people don't even think scientific like scientists. Um, but and yet at the same time, everyone thinks about experience. And so, in a way, everyone is a scientist, not maybe not a very great one, and some people are extremely rigorous in the way they think, very careful. So, so here's an example. Um, he says that people used to be concerned about the way they act. So here's something about the way you should act. Take the golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That sounds nice, and it's telling you how to act in the world. And there's a baked-in assumption that something that tells you how to act is something that's going to help you. So it's like an if-then statement. It's a prediction. If you behave this way, then good things will happen. Um, and so so let's say you take that. Um, at what point is that not good enough? At what point do you become scientific about it? Well, when it's too low resolution. So let's say someone is really upset, and so you're like, let's see, how do I treat them the way I'd like to be treated? And because you're hungry, you give them a cheeseburger or something, and you're just basically treating people how you'd want to be treated right now. And and what happens is they get mad, They're like, I don't want that. And you're like, what? Okay, I need to understand something here. And then you learn that there are other feelings, that other states of the body, like thirst. And let's say if you try to give somebody food when they're thirsty, it isn't nice. And so you differentiate the different states, um, and include that as part of your statement of the golden rule. So uh, do unto others as you would have them do unto you if you were in the same state. And that is when it can get really complicated. Um, because there are many states you can be in. You can be in PTSD state. You can be in allergic to walnuts state. You can be in all kinds of states. And the point is, in order to actually treat someone, in order to actually apply the golden rule in the best way possible, you have to have an accurate map, a completely accurate map of experience, um, for everybody. And so, in order to make somebody happy, you have to know about them, you have to know about their situation, what will make them happy, and it just is difficult. And so, it naturally, this movement from low to high resolution naturally causes people to probe experience and differentiate and create a map. And that is science. Just making a more fine-grained map of reality. So I don't think there is a difference between thinking about how to act in the world and looking at what's in the world. We can't see what is in the world. We can't see the essence of a mountain. We can only see, okay, I recognize that as a mountain. That's a mountain. If I go up to it and try to climb it, it's going to take a very long time. I'm probably going to get tired. You can only make predictions about your experience and other people's experience. And even then, you don't have direct access to other people's experience. So rather than okay, Bob, if you go climb that mountain, you're going to get tired and blah, blah, blah. How will you know when that's happened? You'd have to be with them, first of all. Or you'd have to just believe them when they come back and tell you. You're making a prediction of your own experience as much as theirs. And so what your own experience is going to be a week later, they come to you and they say, you were right. And that's your experience. So, yeah, all these things are just statements. They're statements, they're predictions about future experience, patterns of experience you're going to encounter. So if you look at objects more specifically, how does that directly relate to experience? Well, when you say, oh, this is a ball, it weighs half a kilogram. What you're saying is this thing rolls, so if you kick it, it will maintain its momentum for a while. It will look like it's rolling. You'll have that experience with it. And it weighs a half kilogram. That means if you put this much effort forward, you're probably going to be able to move it this far. And it probably won't hurt, all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, if you look at reality as primarily experience, and secondarily whatever labels happen to be assigned to it to document it, then everything has to be interpreted as representing experience. So all your words, all the statements, so you say something exists or it doesn't exist. If you take that statement, to exist is to kind of remain in more or less the same form that's recognizable, discernible from other things. And so that means when you go to it and you interact with it, it will maintain its form, basically. Whatever makes it, and not other things. So all of these things if you look through the lens of experience, which is the only way you can see the world, it's just a lot of people pretend like they have direct access to objects somehow. But if you recognize that that is how you're looking, you'll see that all these statements about the universe are just predictions of what experience you'll encounter as you apply the patterns that you've applied in the past to these different objects. So, a scientific statement about electrons: they have a certain mass, certain energy, certain propensity to jump between quantum states. Those are just predictions. You're saying it's phrased in the form something is something, but what it really is a prediction. That's what it means to you, because when it comes time to apply it, to actually verify it, and to once it actually gets meaning, before it's just an arbitrary abstract collection of symbols and words. But when you think about the meaning of the statement, that's when your experience has it inputted into it, and then it tests it, and then that's where the meaning of the statement is. It's in the prediction. It's in the experience that is predicted. So, yeah. I think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Nah, that's basically it. That there's not a difference between scientific thinking and trying to figure out how to act in the world. They're the same thing, but at different levels of intensity, different degrees of intensity, and it's all fundamentally the same. And yeah, so objective scientific statements are just predictions of subjective experience. Predictions that subjective experience will follow certain patterns. So, yep, that's it. Let me know if you have any comments on that by commenting or such behavior. Yeah, I also I'm not sure how helpful these ramblings are. For now, they're just me just saying some thoughts so I can document them, go back and listen to them if I feel like it. But yeah, no idea what good they'll be. I'll probably need to look back at all these and create actual presentations that go from a start to a finish somewhere, and have a point, like a meaningful point. Therefore, we should do this, or this should happen, that kind of stuff. But for now, it's just a random thought. So, there you go.